Our top story this hour, the third edition of the India-Central Asia Dialogue was held in New Delhi, and on the second day of the dialogue, India's External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar hosted the crucial meet between the Foreign Minister of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. And today, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet the Central Asian leaders. During the opening statements on day 2, Jaishankar assured India's readiness to take diplomatic relations to the next level.
Despite the impact of the pandemic, our countries have sustained the momentum of our relations. I've had the privilege of meeting each one of you in 2021 earlier, 4 of you in your own capitals. We are very pleased at the state of our bilateral relations, but we know that the potential is very much more. Each one of us today faces the test of rebuilding our economy. Our pursuit of SDGs must also be energized. But together we can do this better, and India, I assure you, will be your steadfast partner. We already have a good history of cooperation, but my message to you today is a readiness to take it to the next level. Our ties must now focus around 4 C's: commerce, capacity enhancement, connectivity and contacts.
According to the joint statement, COVID cooperation, Afghanistan crisis and the support for UNSC initiatives of India were the top focus of the talks. India also called on the Central Asian countries to utilize the services of the Chabar port in Iran for facilitating their trade with India and beyond. The meeting was part of a third edition of the 3-day India-Central Asia Dialogues. The dialogue is taking place in the backdrop of India reaching out to 5 countries for participation of their top leaders as chief guests at the upcoming Republic Day celebrations. On Saturday, Jaishankar held diplomatic talks with Tajikistan's foreign minister on the sidelines of the main event. During the talks, the 2 leaders discussed issues of bilateral relations. The Indian Foreign Minister also appreciated Tajikistan's participation in the regional security dialogue held in November earlier this year. The 2 sides have also signed agreements on diplomatic training and program of cooperation. India considers Central Asia as part of its extended neighborhood. The dialogue is the second meeting organized by India after the 2020 virtual talks. And for more on this, our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, is now joining us live from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us, Siddhant. Today, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be meeting the Central Asian leaders. What can you tell us about that?
Well, a joint call by the 5 Central Asian foreign ministers who are here in India for the Central Asia-India dialogue will be calling on the Indian Prime Minister. The meet is expected to start any time after 12 noon, so we can expect the meeting to start any time now. And of course, the focus will be on many issues of course, which have already been discussed at the dialogue, whether it's Afghanistan, COVID crisis, connectivity, the use of Chabar port. But this is protocol-wise, and logically we can expect some kind of announcement perhaps on the Republic Day parade invitation. We know that India has invited the 5 Central Asian countries as the chief guest at the Republic Day parade that will take place next month, and we can expect some kind of announcement. This is also the occasion for the summit level meeting. We know that this dialogue, the foreign minister dialogue, had been taking place. This is in fact the 3rd dialogue which has taken place. In the past it has taken place virtually and in Samarkand. So the summit level conversation, the leaders of the 5 countries and the Indian Prime Minister will sit together in Delhi next month and chart out on how to increase engagement, whether it's people-to-people engagement or whether it's the civilizational relationship between India and Central Asia.
Right, Siddhant. Also, just before we move on, just a quick recap of the day 2 of this meet. Now, in the joint statement, COVID cooperation, Afghanistan crisis and support for the UNSC initiatives for India were the top focus of the talks. Now, what can you tell us about that?
Well, it was a one-day meeting that took place on Sunday. We saw the dialogue happening and the joint statement also being issued. Particular, of course, focus was on Afghanistan, on the COVID crisis, on connectivity. The joint statement was interesting in a sense that when it comes to connectivity, the 5 Central Asian countries and India referred to as a connectivity project being transparent and not creating problems and respecting territorial integrity. So that's a big message from New Delhi and the 5 Central Asian capitals to Beijing.
Right.
We know that China's CPEC or China-Pakistan Economic Corridor passes through POK, and that is something that India has raised with Beijing. On Afghanistan, we know that all the Central Asian countries have backed the UN resolution passed under the Indian presidency in the month of August that calls for not allowing Afghan territory to be used by terror groups.
Right, absolutely, Siddhant. Thank you so much for joining us with all your inputs on that. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.